Good morning, everyone, and happy to slay. Hello, and welcome to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. My name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. I advise and empower women professionals, especially women veteran professionals, to step confidently into their next chapter and brand boldly using my signature I Slay framework. And through my program, you'll discover and build a memorable personal brand and transform your look with personalized styling that reflects your unique power and presence. So, I am a professional keynote speaker, a personal brand expert, certified image consultant, author of several books, and most proudly, a United States Air Force veteran of 30 years. And so, after I retired from the Air Force, I decided to launch Slay to Success, and through Slate to Success, I literally created a brand that is not only powerful, but most authentic to me. And I now allow women who are in my space to become the woman that they've always dreamed to be. And we are looking through the lens of personal styling, personal branding, because I know how it has made a significant difference in my life after I retired. I no longer think and move the same way that I did when I was in service, because I've explored the edges of what it means to really express yourself through clothing, through your voice, through your message, through your core values, if you will. So, as you're coming on in, let me know who you are and where you're streaming in from. I've already got Leslie George in the building. Thank you so much, Queen, for being here, Madame, this morning, and being here in the space, especially live, because you could be spending your time anywhere else, but you've came here, and so I appreciate you so much. Listen, y'all. I am in this space right now in my mind and my thoughts of what I have been sharing over the past few years and really thinking through like where I was and where I am at today. So I'm just going to give you a little insight. And of course, we start first thing with the word slay. Okay. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that really resonate with me the most. And I hope that it resonates with you as well. And that is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, a sense of family, if you will, and knowing you are built to last. So again, as you're coming on in, let us know where you're streaming in from, because I would like to have conversations. Okay. Here on this show, we specifically talk about personal branding. I also have a show on Sunday nights where I bring in a guest, and that's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's called the Slay to Success Talk Show. So if you are ever, wondering, hey, what can I be doing on a Sunday night as I'm preparing the family for the week? Come on in, slide through. I've always got special guests who drop so many great gems and incredible insight as to whatever their field of expertise is. So today, okay, y'all, we're going to talk about why I, why we can't afford to wing it. Okay. And when I say we can't afford to wing it, I'm specifically talking about our personal branding style. All right. Everyone has a style, everyone has a personal brand, if you will. Is it working? Are you just going along just to be along, trying to just do whatever? Or are you putting thought behind what it is that you're doing, how you're doing? Because that's what personal branding is. It's being very intentional. All right. The intentionality of understanding who you are, how you think, how you operate. What is your message? What is your story? How do you communicate that? Through which modalities do you do it through? And how you help solve problems for someone else. Okay. Because in personal branding, I have used it throughout my career. I've been very successful in my career and was allowed to serve in some highly coveted leadership roles because my brand was on point. And now, as I have transitioned and in the business as an entrepreneur, I continue to see that now I'm in demand. I am a speaker, so I speak a lot on different platforms. People bring me in to provide workshops. I also have clients that I help, high-end clients, if you will, that are public facing, who need guidance, if you will, to make sure that their image is on point, make sure that their message is very clear, and they're showing up the way that they want to show up, but then it results in the wins, in the success of what they're trying to achieve. So we can't afford to wing it. And I'm going to go in through a little bit of spiel about my journey. Okay. So in 2021, y'all, in June to be exact, I stood on the retirement stage and I retired. I was at 30 years and 25 days. All right. And at that point, there was a lot of thoughts that were in my head. Like, what is the next chapter going to look like? Who do I want to become? Like, what is it on the other side? And I had literally no idea. For the only simple thing that I had, well, not simple, but the only thing that really was going on at that time, that I was writing my first book. And as I transitioned, maybe a year later, I self-published it through Amazon. And, I found myself, in this space, if you will. Yes, I was writing a book, but at the same time, I had zero clue of what this was all going to look like for me. And I remember standing in my closet. We came to Maryland on a risk, just kind of pointed on the map. Here we are from South Dakota. I was in the closet. I was unpacking my boxes, hanging up clothes in the closet, and I was completely confused because I had worn the uniform for so long. That was my identity. And to restructure, redo my wardrobe, it seemed like it was such an overwhelming, and I would say task, because it sometimes can be taxing a little bit when you're trying to reinvent yourself. And I was in my head because I knew I was a leader. All right. I was a highly effective leader. I could lead airmen into combat zones. In fact, my last deployment was in Jordan and Kuwait. All right. On the border of Syria. I was going back and forth, flying in between the two countries. And it was a combat zone that I was flying back and forth in. All right. I had done that. I was making life or death decisions, probably like the last 15 years of my career. And I could command rooms filled with power, meaning generals, other chiefs, civilians that were in high leadership roles. But once I started to think about, like, what is it that I want to do and step into this civilian life, I had no idea what I was doing or what I should do. And I was completely froze. I was like freezing in the moment. If anyone has ever felt like overwhelmed with stress and anxiety, sometimes we just freeze and we just can't think straight. We're just thinking, okay, there's no solution to this. I might stay in this state for a very long time. I was asking myself, what do I even wear now? All right. I had polo shirts, khaki pants, because that's kind of the standard, if you will. When you're off duty, you wear these types of clothing to kind of fit in with everyone else and the environment. And, I didn't know who I was without the rank, to be honest with y'all. So I really had to take a step back. All right. And think things through. I even remember I went to a networking event and I wore an outfit that I really didn't like. My feet were hurting in these heels that I thought I could handle. And because I was wearing combat boots for a very long time, my feet had always been flat on the ground. And when you're trying to elevate them, my feet weren't working. And every step that I took from the parking lot into the networking event, I was asking myself, why did I wear these pairs of shoes? This is not even me. I can't even do this. I see other women wearing heels, and I'm like, how are y'all doing that? I just knew it wasn't for me. And I had on this outfit that really screamed like I was playing small. And in my mind, okay, because I have a different mindset when it comes to how, I have been able to create success for myself. I'm always thinking of what's that next level. So I just had to adopt the mindset that that's how I should do this in my civilian life. And I just said, okay, I need to figure out how I'm going to show up in my most authentic way. And because how you show up is how people receive you. All right. And if your style, your energy, and your image, isn't on point, if you will, then the words that you're trying to speak before you even step in the word are going to be a mute point. And I knew that when I was in the military, my image was the reasons why I was able to step into places without even knowing who they were, with the power that was in the room, because I started to think about from head to toe, how can I show up where I am speaking, from a professional standpoint, with confidence, with clarity. And so, why couldn't I carry that into this next chapter? Well, now I do. Okay. And I went and got my certification as an image consultant because that was in alignment with where I wanted to go and how I wanted to transform my life. And it has been a game changer. And I also realized, again, when I was in the military and now here transitioning out, that if your look doesn't match your leadership, then your message gets lost. So I had to do the inner and the outer work. All right. When I work with my clients, we are just not putting on clothes. All right. There's some inner work that needs to be done because the way you show up is what is happening in the inside. And then your outerwear is the expression of what is happening on the inside. So when I see women and men, all right, showing up in a certain way where it's not speaking truly to who they are, I know it's the inner. There's something going on. All right. So we work on that a little bit. Okay. I work in the identity because I feel like if you understand who you are, your core values have changed and shifted from where it was 10, 15 years ago, then we're looking to how we can create this momentum, the velocity, if you will, to show up and be consistent with whatever the image that you have said, this is what I want for myself. All right. So let's talk about one of the strategies, if you will. And I'm big on sharing because sharing is caring. And I got my wardrobe to the point, and I'm still building. It's a building almost like every week. I go out and shop for my clients, so I also have to shop for myself. And I'm building my wardrobe as I go. And I wanted to match the woman that I am becoming, not the version I have outgrown. I have outgrown what I was doing for the past 30 years. All right. I am now 52 years old and I am going into the woman that I want to see for myself. And so now when I walk in a room, either here online or in person, I show up as a purpose driven, polished, and powerful woman. And I want that to be for you too. Okay. So if your brand doesn't have direction, because we're talking about personal brand style. All right. Today we're talking about personal brand style. If your brand style doesn't have direction, it will have distraction. All right. So if your outfit doesn't match that energy that you have, it's given missed opportunity vibes. That's what it is giving. All right. Again, when I go up into the room, I know for me, like, so I'm wearing today a flower print. I've been in flower print probably for the past 6 months now. I usually go to my flowers, but now it's springtime, y'all, and I'm like fully deep in it. And when I show up in the flowers, somehow, some way, I know that's my energy and how I want to be. Like, I want to be the sunshine. I want to be the fresh, the updated version of myself, someone who had to, you know, be confined into a uniform for many years and wasn't able to really express myself the way that I wanted to. And now that I'm able to do that, I'm doing it in a more modern type sense, if you will, and it's very purposeful. So, and I've been getting opportunities left and right. Okay. I am hashtag booked and busy in a good way. And it is because I decided to create this blueprint for myself and to really walk in that every single day. And Leslie says, polished, love the powerful word. Yes, polished and put together. All right. I get that all the time when someone says, wow, you know why? Because I took the time. That's the thing, right? When we care enough to take the time to make sure that we're presenting in the best and our most favorite ways that we can, the way that we show up and the energy that we have and the mindset that we have, people can see that. They can feel it. And that's what you want to give that to, you want to be able to go in there and people like, you know what? I remember this girl. Okay. I remember this woman. I remember this man because they came and they showed up. All right. And if you're just showing up without intention, okay, because personal brand is about the intentional acts, the intentional steps that we are taking, we're just blending in and we're not breaking through. So none of us want to blend in. We just can't wing it anymore. Think about it. Look around. Take a temperature of what's happening in our environments now, right? In the world at large, right? Leadership is needed more than ever. And leadership does not have to look bland, and it doesn't need to just fall to the wayside. We want to make sure that we are showing up and we are using personal branding with style as a strategy. So I'm going to just break this down for you. Now, if anybody watched Met Gala last night, and Leslie sent me a text message earlier today about Met Gala, and they talked about the concept of dandyism, and how Black males are now using styling full expression from way back in the day and now showing up today. And then they're on the platforms, on the red carpets, if you will. And it was just like explosive. I was like, oh my gosh, like, look at this outfit, right? They were showing up in the way that they felt like at the highest version of themselves. Okay. So we have to make sure that we are showing up in the spaces and places that we go to in the way that we want to. And we should never doubt or say, I should have worn this. I should have worn that. I picked this outfit, but it doesn't really clearly say who I am. It's uncomfortable. It's not making me shine the way that I want to. Again, we are talking about intentionality. And Leslie says, if we are not intentional about how we show up, how do we expect others to take us seriously? Okay. How do we expect others to take us seriously? They were showing up, making statements with fashion without saying a word. They were just showing up. They didn't have the microphone to their mouths. They were on there and people were just snapping pictures left and right. So we can make any room our own Met Gala, stage, if you will, um, and do it in a way that is receptive, that people can see that you're like, okay, she's open. She wants more conversations. I'm very curious. I'm a little shocked, at the same time, like, wow, she is really showing up in the way that, her mindset, right? So let's talk about the mindset set shift, okay? So we're going to talk about like what's that mindset shift from just dressing up to dressing with purpose. Okay. So most people, all right, and this is what I've seen over the past few years, y'all. Again, I started using my wardrobe as a means to express myself and to set myself apart from everybody else and in my unique way and most fitting for me. And people remember me. All right. I'm just going to tell you that they do. They either say the girl in the pink or they say slay or slay queen. I mean, this is all part of the branding that I have created for myself. But I have seen that most people wake up and get dressed just to cover up their bodies. Okay. And they're not really getting dressed to command attention or communicate presence. All right. But here I'm telling you, I'm here spilling some tea. Now I've got my here in my sleigh cup. Okay. But I'm here to tell you right now, every outfit that you put on is a message. What is the message that you are trying to send? What is the message that you're trying to convey? All right. Because if you're throwing on whatever, which I have seen, okay, people just throwing on whatever, you're telling the world that you're unsure, that you're overwhelmed, and worst of all, that you want to be invisible. The women that I work with want to be seen, period, point blank. All right. They want to be seen because they are entering into the leadership, maybe public facing in either politics or community leadership. Um, Women who are transitioning out of a long career and they want to go into a new career that's completely different from where they were at before. And so we have to accelerate. Okay. And this is what I have done. I am making up for lost time. When I talk about my wardrobe, I don't just go shopping just to be going shopping. I don't go in there and just meander around in a store. Okay. That's not what I do. I have a specific look that I'm going for and specific clothes that I am buying and purchasing because I'm building this wardrobe that is a story. Okay. I tell the story about who I am through my clothes. So every outfit is a message. So we're not doing that, that's just doing whatever anymore. We're not doing that anymore. All right. So we need to dress with purpose. We also need to know that fashion isn't fluff, it's a language. Okay. Fashion is a language. Again, Met Gala, if you have not watched it, I'm sure it's on YouTube. You can go back and rewatch it. I'm sure they're going to have replays all throughout the any channels. That's all going to be in TV for the next few weeks. All right. You can read about it, look it up. They were speaking a different language. And when you speak it fluently, you walk differently, you speak differently, and people treat you accordingly. That's what happens. All right. So I just want you to all understand that confidence is wearing pieces that really fit and flatter and feel like you and not who you think you should be. Again, I know sometimes we see mannequins in the store. And I'm saying this because I've had, people who have came up to me and said, I saw this outfit on a mannequin and it really looked good. And so I just went ahead and bought it. And when I bought it, it was just not the right look. And I was like, because it wasn't for you. Okay. Stop buying these clothes that are on the mannequins because half the time what they're doing is to entice you to come into the store, but it really not fitting you because as we have matured, and I'll say matured, our bodies are shifting. All right. And our bodies require a little bit of extra attentions here and there. And what we're trying to do is to create some credibility in our outer appearance, which again matches our inner excellence. We are talking about inner excellence here. Okay. This is why I love doing inner work, and allowing the clients that I am working with to really figure out, like, set in, like, how do I think and what is it that I want to, create for myself. And we know we have inner excellence, right? But the credibility comes from the outer appearance. So if our look is polished, our look is intentional, it subconsciously tells others she's got it together and she means business. Okay. Brandy, how you doing, Queen? Thank you so much for being here live with us this morning. This is my sister in arms, y'all. And so I just want to say thank you, Queen. And she says, agreed. Fashion is a language. And you can tell, like, when you go to certain places, I go to events all the time. Okay. I go to networking events, I go to dinner events, breakfast events. I'm always out doing some type of, social activity. And I put a lot of thought in, okay, what is this environment? All right. I dress a little bit differently when I go into the veteran space, okay, because that's the community that I was in for a very long time, than I do when I'm in the civilian space. All right. I calculate what is happening in there. What is the vibe that I want to portray? How do I want to show up? Is there someone or some things in there that I want to create opportunities for? I mean, I'm listening. Listen, there's a whole plan for how I show up. And so remember, okay, we want to subconsciously tell others that we got it together and we mean business. And people decide if they trust you within seconds. So that's all you got. You got a few seconds, right, to show up and really impress or to put your best foot forward. So we need to show up like we're already the expert and that they believe us. Okay. So the one thing that we can control is what we put on. So this is why I talk about personal brand styling. And personal brand styling is creating a wardrobe or a fashion sense for yourself. It could be the shoe game. It could be a hat game. It could be the jewelry game. It could be the color game, whatever that is. Okay, that people will really look and see that you're aligning your image with your mission and your legacy. Okay, image isn't just for today, it's a visual reflection of the legacy that you are building. Okay, so let's just think of it in a much deeper way. It is not superficial. What we're doing is we are having our image, okay, if you will, to reflect the level of intention. So if our mission is to lead, which I know it is, because that's what we're in here in this space for, if it is to inspire, which I know it is, and is to empower or elevate, because these are the words that we use on Slay to Success. All right, I need you to be asking yourself, does what I wear tell the story of what I want to be remembered for? Am I visually aligning my message that I speak from the stages, on social media, or in the boardroom if you're in the boardroom? Okay. Because style isn't just what you're wearing, y'all, it's what you stand for. Okay. So we can't afford to wing it because someone else is going to get this opportunity that you were seeking and looking for, and you're going to get passed over. All right. And this is just like being in a career when you get passed over for promotions or whatever, whatnot. We can control how we're showing up, but more importantly, it's what we are standing for. So that is today's talk, if you will, on the personal brand strategy styling, if you will. Thank you so much, Leslie and Brandy, for being here live with me this morning. And if you come back for the replay, put in hashtag replay and let me know your thoughts. All right. Because this could be somewhat of a personal journey for yourself, as you are continue on to lead and inspire and empower, elevate whoever it is that is in your community. Let's just do it from a point of being very intentional. All right. Let's not get anybody confused. All right. Let's make sure that our narrative is our narrative and it stays on point of where we are trying to go. All right. And just making sure that we show up. Okay. And showing up it's not only about the style. Okay. It's showing up in our words, showing up in our actions, showing up in our values. All right. So nobody can get that confused with anybody else. All right. Hey, Latricia, how you doing, Queen? What's going on? How you been? Miss you. All right. So thank you so much for being here live with us this morning. We about to scooch on out of here. Okay. Because I've been down here for about 30 minutes just talking away. So as you are going on about your day, just understand and know that this queen right here is always in your ear. Okay. So keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. And I will see you all very, very soon. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Yeah.